This is absolutely the most frequently asked question that I get. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, I'm Tiff. I'm an American living in Paris, here to help you navigate life abroad. And today we're talking about making friends. I kid you not, I get this question all of the time on every live stream, every Ask Me Anything. Even in some podcast interviews, I've gotten this question, which is, how do you make friends when you're living abroad? How did you make friends in Paris? And I mean, it's real. When you move to another country, if you do it the way that I did, with no friends, no family, kind of no true support system, it can be tough to kind of push past everything and try to connect with quality people. So in this video, I wanted to share some of the ways that I've personally made friends in Paris. Now I know we kind of all meet friends and make connections in our own ways. So if you've ever moved to a new city or if you've moved abroad, please share how you've made friends in the comments below. I think that we can all kind of learn from each other in this sense, so I'd love for you guys to share. But before we get started, please make sure to like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I share a lot of great content about my life in Paris, navigating living abroad, all of that fun stuff. And if any of you guys are really interested in moving abroad, I actually just released a guide that you can grab in the description below about getting in the right mindset to make the big move, because I'm a firm believer that your mindset is everything. But okay, so back to the topic of the video, which is making friends while living abroad. So I've kind of found that I've made friends in 4 major ways, I would say. The first one is, of course, through organizations. I always recommend, if you do want to make this big move, to come with an organization. Come through school, come through work. I know that there are a lot of other great organizations that you can move abroad with. And I say this because, I came here to get my MBA, and because of that, I was kind of already grouped with a handful of people who were like-minded, had very similar interests, and were kind of living out this expat experience at the same time that I was. So things were kind of new to all of us. We were discovering a lot of things at the same time. We were going grocery shopping together. We were, of course, studying together. We were discovering the city together. And I do think sometimes when you're coming with an organization of people who have similar interests as you do, it does kind of make the process a lot easier. And I think what also kind of falls under this organization's umbrella is the fact that I also met a lot of great people through work. So right after I graduated from my MBA, I went to work in the luxury beauty industry. It was an American company, international company. So I was meeting people from all over the world. It was a really cool way, of course, to connect with other people and really get to know them. So definitely when it came to organizations, for me, through school and through work, I made some really quality connections. Again, which is why I highly recommend, if you do want to make the big move, try to come with an organization if you can. And then my second piece of advice is to use the network that you already have. Like, don't forget about your friends and the network that you've built outside of your big move abroad. And I say this because it was one of my very good friends who lives in LA that connected me to a girl who kind of became one of my really good friends here. She's now living in Amsterdam, but that was a really great connection that I had. So my friend, she works in HR in LA, and she was actually interviewing this girl. She was like, wait, you live in Paris? One of my best friends lives in Paris. Let me connect you guys. And then through that, the girl that was living here connected me with her group of friends. So it was a really cool opportunity just to kind of network with other people who were living here. So I say, use your network. When you make this big move abroad, let other people know what you're doing and that you're living in a new city. And I feel like they'd be more than willing to help. Because also, people were coming out the woodwork for me like, oh, I know someone who lives there. Like my mom was like, oh, I have a friend that knows someone. So you never know who you could be connected to just from using the network that you already have. And then number 3 is to make use of social media. So I'm not gonna lie, at first I was very skeptical about this just because I'm kind of all for trying to meet friends in person versus online, but social media has been a great tool for me. Like, I met one of my really good friends who's now living in Berlin through Instagram. She reached out, she was like, hey, love your page, would you ever want to do a shoot in Paris? And I was like, okay, sure. And we would shoot each other's looks and things like that. So she was kind of like a blogger as well. And it was a really cool way just to connect with someone new in the city. So I had a really cool experience. Of course, when it comes to Instagram and social media, you do have to be careful, check out their profiles. I wouldn't just meet with anyone, make sure it's someone that you're comfortable with and feel good about. But that is how I met one of my really good friends. And I mean, even LinkedIn. So one of my friends here, she found my LinkedIn profile and she was like, wow, we have a lot in common. Would you want to meet for coffee? And now we're pretty good friends. So definitely use the resources that you have. Again, when it comes to social media, yes, be careful about who you're choosing to meet up with. I'm not saying meet up with everyone and anyone. It is important to be selective. It is important to kind of check them out to make sure they're legit, but it can kind of open the door to friendships. You know, you never know. And to add on the social media component, there are also a lot of great Facebook groups for expats in certain cities. So for Paris, I know that there's an expat in Paris group. There's also, I believe, an American in Paris group. You know, there are so many great Facebook groups that connect you with other expats that are living abroad, which I found is really helpful. You know, if you just have questions about what's going on in Paris, or if you need certain resources, Facebook groups can be helpful. I mean, sometimes even for job openings, you never know. So that's what I can say about social media. I know when it comes to social media, it can be a bit touchy. Again, just from my personal experience, it is how I've met a few of my good friends. But of course, you gotta be careful. Make sure the person is legit and actually maybe has something in common with you. But you never know. You never know. And then the fourth way, I think, is just to be open to receiving. Like, I've met some really great friends in the most random ways by just being open to the experience of living abroad and meeting new people. You know, for example, one of my best French friends here, I met so randomly. I was taking the train, went in the wrong direction, had to switch directions, finally got to my destination, got off at the platform, and she just comes up to me saying that she loves my hair and how do I do my hair. And literally we just hit it off from there. And I was like, oh, I'm actually on the way to pick up some hair products if you just want to come with me and I can show you what I get. And literally, I feel like we just became friends from that moment. So she is French, and she had an experience where she was living abroad or studying abroad, but in the United States. So we kind of connected on that, just kind of having studied abroad, you know, both in our respective ways. And she was like, you know, I know how it feels, you know, when you're kind of out here on your own. If you ever need anything, let me know. I'd be more than happy to show you around, tell you where things are. And we really did become good friends just from having that interaction, which was really, really cool. And I think I was just kind of open. And it's funny because I moved from New York to Paris, and I always say to myself, oh my God, if some random person came up to me in New York, you know, I might give her some tips, but I probably wouldn't be like, come with me to the hair store. You know, I just feel like it's kind of like a different vibe when you are just in a new country and just open to receiving all that the country has to offer you. So that's how I met one of my really great French friends here. And then I also met a friend through another kind of random encounter. So I was going to brunch, I was going by myself, and I was standing in line, and she was just asking me how long I had been waiting. And she was like, oh, you're American? Like, I was living in America for a while. Here's my number if you ever need anything. So I kind of feel like, you know, when you are open to receiving and you kind of put that energy out there, it's always given back to you in ways that you might not have ever expected. It's really, really cool how the universe works. And even another great friend who who's no longer living in Paris, he was actually just here for a month. So I've done a few articles with Travel Noir now, and one of the writers of an article that I did was coming to Paris with one of her really good friends. And it was crazy because the day that we were supposed to meet up, she had forgotten her phone, something happened, so we weren't really in contact, but she and her friend saw me walking and was like, oh my God, that's the girl, I recognize her hair, jumped out of the car, and we went for a drink together. And her friend that was with her, we ended up becoming such great friends. So he was actually living in Paris for a month, and it was a really cool way just to connect with someone. So I say this again, guys, just to say, you know, sometimes you just have to be completely open to receiving what the new country and the new experience has to offer you. So guys, that's a few ways that I personally made friends. Again, if you've ever moved to a new city or a new country, definitely let me know how you've made friends. I know that we all kind of make friends in our own ways. Of course, just through the experiences that we have. So I'd love to hear from you guys. But just because I've gotten this question a lot, I figured I'd make a video about how I've kind of made friends and kind of navigated connecting with people while living abroad. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.